What if I told you that you could make every single conversation you have at work way more effective just by mastering the first 60 seconds? It sounds almost too simple to be true, right? Well, that's the game-changing skill we're unpacking today, based on the brilliant insights from Chris Fenning's book, The First Minute. You know the feeling. You walk out of a meeting or you hang up a call and you're actually more confused than when you went in. We've all been there. It's such a huge waste of time and energy, and it's exactly the kind of thing we're going to help you fix, because it turns out the stakes for that initial confusion are incredibly high. Get this, research shows it can take 8, that's right, 8 positive interactions to undo the damage of just one bad first impression. 8! That means you really have to get it right from the jump, because every single first minute really, really counts. So here's our game plan. First, we'll dig into why this first minute is so crucial. Then I'm going to give you 3 super powerful techniques: framing, structuring, and respecting time. And finally, we'll pull it all together into a simple playbook you can literally start using today. So why all this focus on the first 60 seconds? I mean, what's the big deal? Well, it's because the most important part of any work conversation isn't the small talk about the weather or the weekend. It's that very precise moment you switch from the casual chat to the real reason you're talking. And this is what Chris Fenning calls the first minute, that specific pivot from pleasantries to business. Nailing this transition is everything. It sets the entire tone and completely changes how the rest of your message is going to be received. And look, the stakes could not be clearer. This isn't just about having smoother conversations or feeling more confident. We're talking about your career here. Poor communication, especially right at the start of a discussion, is one of the biggest reasons people get passed over for promotions. Okay, so how do you avoid that trap? The very first tool in your new toolkit is a technique called framing, and you can think of it as the blueprint for starting every single conversation with absolute, undeniable clarity. Framing is all about taking control right away. Instead of making your listener play a guessing game, you immediately tell their brain how to process the information you're about to share. This instantly gets rid of that awful, "Wait, why are you telling me this?" feeling. And the best part, it's incredibly fast. It's just 3 quick steps that take less than 15 seconds. First, you give the context. What's the topic? Second, the intent. What do you actually need from them? And third, the key message. What's the one critical thing they absolutely have to know? Now, this is where it all clicks into place. That before example, it's vague, it's kind of stressful for the other person, and we all do it. But the after, that is a masterclass in clarity. In just a few seconds, the listener knows the topic, what their role is, and what the core issue is. It's just so much more efficient, respectful, and powerful. Okay, so you've framed the conversation perfectly, the stage is set, now you've got to deliver the actual information without rambling on forever. For that, we're going to use a tool that works like a GPS for your message, keeping you on the fastest, clearest route. It's called the GPS method, and it stands for goal, problem, and solution. This structure is amazing because it forces you to focus on what really matters in a work setting, making progress and actually solving problems, not just talking about them. It's really simple. You start with the goal, here's what we're trying to achieve. Then you state the problem, here's the thing that's in our way. And finally, you propose the solution. So here's what I think we should do about it. This simple flow stops you from just complaining and pushes you toward proposing a way forward. But I can hear you thinking, okay, that sounds great, but what if I don't have a solution yet? That's a really common fear, right? Feeling like you need to have all the answers before you can even speak up. Well, the good news is the GPS method is totally flexible. It's actually a really elegant fix. If you don't have a solution, your solution is to ask for help. You just state the goal and the problem, and then your final step is a direct request for collaboration. This literally turns a potential roadblock into a fantastic opportunity for teamwork. All right, so we've got our frame to start the conversation and our GPS summary to deliver the message. Now it's time for the final polish. 2 incredibly simple checks that show a massive amount of professional respect. You just need to perform 2 quick checks before you dive in. First, a time check. Be honest about how long you're actually going to need. Second, a validation checkpoint. Just make sure you're talking to the right person and that it's a good time for them to really focus. Come on, we all do it. We say, got a minute, when we know deep down we need 5 or 10. That simple switch to being specific, like saying, do you have 5 minutes to talk about this? It builds trust instantly. It shows you respect their schedule, and it sets really clear expectations. And here's a perfect example of that validation checkpoint. Asking this exact question is so powerful. It gives the other person an easy out if they aren't the right contact, which saves everybody time and makes you look incredibly considerate and prepared. Okay, we've gone over all the individual pieces. Now, let's put them all together into one seamless system. This is your new playbook for mastering pretty much any work conversation. And here it is, the complete playbook, in the right order. First, do your time and validation check. Second, deliver your 3-part frame. And third, provide your GPS summary. That's it. It's a simple sequence that just works. And the best part is just how versatile this whole thing is. This isn't just for face-to-face conversations. You can apply this exact playbook to your emails, use it to kick off meetings with a clear purpose, and even structure your presentations around it. Heck, a quick frame can make even a simple instant message 100 times clearer. And ultimately, this is the real payoff. When you consistently use these techniques, you're not just having better conversations, you're building your personal brand. You become known as that person who brings clarity, who respects people's time, and who, at the end of the day, gets results. So your very next work conversation is an opportunity. The next email you write, the next call you make, that's your chance to put this playbook into action. The only question left is, how are you going to use your first minute?